So what we've got here is I've just done a few rows of double crochets into the back loop. I don't know how clear this is to see. So if I wanted to finish my project here, it's loud. First thing I would do is, well, so I could just cut the yarn here if I wanted to, but to keep extra secure, do an extra chain, and then you want to leave maybe about this much yarn loose. If you haven't got this much left, don't worry. And what you can do is just pull that out and pull it tight, and that extra chain kind of keeps it all locked in there like a little knot, similarly to how the other end looks. And that's it, that's secured. The next step is, if you were doing something like tassels and you had a few different colours and you had stripes, then you could just leave this out as tassels. But for this example, I'm going to show you how, if you don't want loose ends, you would sew it in. So if you have a darning needle, tapestry needle, what you're going to do is you're going to put it, essentially you've got to weave this inside the other stitches that you've done. I haven't thought through how I'm explaining this, it's just on the go. So I often start with just finding a good place to tuck it in so that the top doesn't stick out too much, and then I start thinking about the weaving. So you see on your stitches you have these V's, right? Each stitch has a V. What you're going to do is go put it behind the V's, but not behind the whole stitch. You kind of want to go through the middle of the stitch. I'm going to try and go through maybe 3 or 4 V's first. A little bit fiddly sometimes. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially it's all the same colour, but okay. Now I'm going to pull that through. So this is all just about hiding your end, right? There we go. So it is recommended you do it 3 times, so we're going to go one way and then back on itself, then another way to properly secure it. So what I then tend to do is, the last V that I went through, I'm going to skip the first post, the right post of the V, and go into the left one to go back on myself, and then back through the other V's, but stopping short of the end one, so leaving either end out like the ones I did on the way here. And just like that, kind of like locks it in place. If you pull it too tight, it might pull your stitches away, but if you kind of just give your whole piece a bit of a wiggle, then it should loosen up. But you don't want it too tight or too bulky, and you can see you can't even see it on the other side. Ideally you do the sewing on your bad side. This is technically the good side, I think. There isn't a specific, you know, rule or set. Kind of just what side you think looks better. Actually, maybe this side looks okay. I never really know, but typically I'd say the good side is the side ending up, I don't know, it's often the second row, and then follow that along. That probably doesn't make any sense, ignore that. Anyway, as I said, you do it 3 times. Sometimes I might venture into some other things, but often I would still skip the first post of that one, and then maybe venture my way down into the row below and go through some V's there just to break it up and so it's not too bulky. This may be seen on the other side, but if it's just one strand and it's not the main securing strand, it's not too bad. It's annoying to keep putting the yarn back on. Sometimes I'll put it through twice, but it's a bit short. So this is why you need a certain amount of yarn left when you cut. Ignore how gappy this is, I did this a bit rushed. But and then I'm just going to continue through. I'm just going to keep going one straight line for this one, to be honest, doesn't matter too much. Anyway, and once that's in, you can just pull. Sometimes if I've really got a lot, or if it's a really structurally important thing, I have a habit of going on to the next row and then doing it a bit more so it's less of a thick line, but you really don't have to. That is secured. I'd pull it just a little bit tight to cut the rope, just a little bit, so that when you pull it out it disappears behind a stitch, and ta-da, it's all hidden. I hope that's actually on camera because I have no idea. But anyway, there is how you finish, and you can do the same for this one. You can weave down there or even down there, optional.